Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Chevy Drives Chicago, the official truck partner of your Chicago Bears.
A wire-to-wire victory for the Bears after an exciting performance at Soldier Field. That's their first win of the young season, 31-14 over the Dallas Cowboys. We discussed today on episode 171 of the Bears Etc. podcast. And this episode of Bears Etc. is brought to you by ChevyDriveChicago.com, the official truck of your Chicago Bears. With Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Our weekly conversation with head coach Ben Johnson comes to you shortly. That was fun at the lakefront yesterday. Warm, humid test, Tommy. Last official day of summer, as it turns out. Bears fans were full throttle, and I'm glad the Bears delivered it to them because they popped. And that just is, to me, it's going to lay the groundwork for the rest of the season at home. They have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. For anybody to sit there and say, oh, I predicted that. I knew that was going to happen. We really didn't know it because this is a new developing football team with a new good coaching staff. So with even the good players that they have, you can see their development from week to week. And so when a team comes in, marquee game, afternoon, high profile, and the Bears come in and they play the way they did, it's just so exciting to sit there and watch that unfold before your eyes. And then you think what the future could hold. And so you don't want to get out over your skis. You just want to take every play and see what happens at the conclusion of a play. But at the end of the day, it was hard to go to sleep. At the end of the day, it was fun to talk to people today, and I turned on my TV and got to watch some of the good news.
All right, some of the good news is Caleb Williams. Matches career high 4 TDs. Maybe most importantly to 4 different receivers: Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore. 19 of 28 for 298, 142.6 quarterback rating, highest of his career. That pass to Burden, 62.1 yards in the air, longest in the NFL this season. Now 27 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons. The first drive of the second quarter, the 19-play drive, longest drive in the NFL this season, longest by a Bears team since at least 2000. There's a lot here, but I want to focus on his poise, his ability to scan the defense against his own defense. So he found the pockets, he found the time, and he found the pockets, and he used his legs as well, spread everything around, and fed off of whatever was presented to him.
If I was hosting this show and I said, okay, Jeff, what touchdown pass of Caleb's did you like the best? And hold on, I don't want you to answer yet, because the one I liked the best was the flea flicker, because it wasn't perfectly timed. It wasn't a play that was run as efficiently as you see the success of flea flicker plays can be run. It was a lofted pass back to Caleb. He had pressure in his face. He threw the ball over 60 yards in the air. It was a perfect completion and resulted in a touchdown. That was my favorite pass. However, each one of these touchdown passes had a little something I also liked, but that was my favorite.
Well, go through it. That is my favorite as well because it showed off his very high-end ability with that strong arm of his. It was off timing because of the way Swift threw it back there. Because, that's interesting now. What if it was a proper level from Swift on the toss as opposed to basically a little pop fly? Would that have messed the timing of the route?
I don't think it would have messed the timing of the route. I think it would have changed the way Caleb threw the pass.
Okay.
And because there he threw it just with tremendous strength, and it was loft and allowed the receiver to run underneath it, and it was so accurately placed. If he had more time without a lot of hassling bodies in his face, he would have been able to target more efficiently where Burden was going to be. So that's why it was my favorite pass, because the play wasn't run perfectly, but the result was perfect.
And if that wasn't an option, there were 2 other open guys in the middle of the field. You know,
Right?
Yeah. So that was well done all the way around on that one. All right, break down the other ones then. What did you? Let's do the Roma Dunze when the DB fell down.
I liked his early involvement because when you look at the double move last week by Roma Dunze that had a big pass completion, he actually had a double move where the defensive back fell down. And now there's a little bit more awareness of his route running skills as they're watching tape of these guys going, oh man, don't let that be you. So now the apprehension of covering Roma Dunze when you know you have a man up, it's a little bit more of a challenge. So the continuous development of Roma Dunze in this offense is good for the offense. And I like that play. It happened early. It resulted in a touchdown. And, it was just a money play.
Cole Kmet's touchdown.
Cole Kmet, in the red zone, it's smaller windows of opportunity. They kind of ran a little bit of a deception for Cole to get into that end zone and kind of just hold up in position. He's a big target. Caleb noticed him, and it was kind of a pitch and catch that they probably have done over 1,000 times since the two of them have been here with the Bears. A pass of that length, with that accuracy, and then Cole was able to go through his customary home run swing, and everybody took part in the celebration.
Yeah, tied for second now on the list with Greg Olsen. I had said yesterday he passed Greg Olsen. I was incorrect. So he's got one more to pass Greg Olsen behind the Hall of Famer Mike Ditka. All right, and then I thought was the easiest throw to DJ Moore because he was so wide open, but maybe it wasn't so easy, and it was fourth down on the payoff drive.
I think it's the experience of DJ Moore knew exactly what to do. The play broke down a little bit. Caleb was kind of skirting out of the pocket to his right. DJ Moore said, okay, I have a big void here. I'm going to stay in space. And I was saying that it's difficult with those blue end zones with the dark blue jersey because to me, when I was looking at the play today and I was looking at the sideline, I was looking at the end zone. When you look at the end zone, he's not easily sighted. So for Caleb to keep his eyes downfield and officially working his vision, seeing DJ Moore and then delivering him the touchdown pass. For me, selfishly, I love the reward to DJ because the guy works so hard. He offers you so much in this offense. He's such a tough guy that if anybody deserves a nice I'm not going to say anything's easy in the NFL, but it deserve a touchdown in that game. It was DJ.
Hey, Bears fans, Steinhoffels is a proud partner of the Chicago Bears. This Bears season, Steinhoffels is partnering with Special Spaces Illinois to create dream bedrooms for children battling cancer. For every false start caused by the Bears defense during a home game, Steinhoffels donates $1,000 to Special Spaces Illinois. Shop in store and online at steinhoffels.com. Time now for my conversation with Bears head coach Ben Johnson following the win over the Cowboys. All right, Ben, thanks very much for joining us once again. Great home win, man. It's been, not that you're aware of this, but about a year ago was the last home win. So 350 days.
Yeah, it was good to see. I thought our fans came out, could hear them that entire game. They certainly played a factor there when Dallas was on offense and went a long way for us there. So really proud of our guys' first victory of the season, and something for us to build on.
How would you characterize the mood in the building and get in front of the team today?
Yeah, I think everyone's excited. There's a number of things we need to clean up as an entire team, but I really thought that the guys battled their tails off. We responded well from what happened the prior weeks, and I really think that the keys to victory that we outlined early in the week, they came to fruition for us, and our guys executed really well.
I can already feel it brewing, Ben. Theme of the week: how do you deal with success?
Oh yeah. There's no doubt. Right? We've been talking about blocking out the noise all year long, all training camp. This is just another step of that. So we had our best week of preparation last week, and we're going to need the same thing again this week to continue to have the result. 31
points, snapped a streak of 13 consecutive games scoring fewer than 30, and 4 turnovers by the defense. I highlight those two things because one feeds the other.
I mean, we didn't start the game out the way we wanted to on offense, really with a 3 and out, and then defense comes out and, they're able to get a little bit of yardage on the first play, and then the second play is going to be an explosive run, and all of a sudden you got Tyreek getting the ball out for us. And then the offense responded with the touchdown of their own, and, I thought there was a lot of that piggybacking throughout the course of the game where if one unit was struggling a little bit, the other unit would respond. Same thing with special teams. I thought our special teams unit played really well. They have a dynamic returner in Turpin, and I felt like for the most part we negated the threat that he presents. And we had 3 defensive drives that started inside the 25-yard line from our kickoff unit, and then we had that one punt that went out on the 8-yard line. So we won the field position battle in that regard. And like I said, really good complementary football throughout.
I was talking to Kirk Morrison, the former Raiders linebacker, and he's their radio analyst, and we were just touching on they got beat on a couple of big returns yesterday, and the league had an extraordinary day in special teams. Returns galore, big things happen, the block field goals. Why this weekend? He just theorized that younger players are on special teams units at the early part of the season, and that may have led to that. But do you buy into that at all?
I haven't seen it around the league quite yet. Normally at the end of the week, I kind of look at what's gone on the previous week around the league. But yeah, there's probably something to that. I think the attrition that normally happens too, we're a couple weeks in this thing now, and guys are going down, next man steps up, and so the guys that were playing special teams get thrown into heavy roles on offense and defense, and you got some guys that maybe hadn't played a whole lot of special teams yet trying to fill in. And so that's where we've been harping from day one with Coach Hightower and really our entire unit, that our practice squad players are going to play big roles for us. We look to develop them in practice each and every single week and put a lot of effort into coaching them up so that when their number is called, we'll be ready to go.
It was a dizzying offensive game plan. Concepts galore, everybody getting the football, and clearly that means that Caleb was seeing it well too then, right?
Yeah. I think our guys really we're at the step now where we've had a few of these game plans. They know how to approach the week coming in on a Wednesday and a Thursday and a Friday, and how much the volume is going to be and how much time they need to devote into the playbook and in the walkthrough and time outside of the building in order to digest enough of it to execute it at a high level on game day. And so that's where I have a higher comfort level as a play caller and us as a staff by putting this plan together to where we can soup it up just a little bit more, put a little bit more bells and whistles on there. The first couple of weeks it was more vanilla, more basic by design, and now we're going to really hit our rhythm and our stride now that we're getting into some normal game weeks.
See, the key to interviewing somebody like yourself who's very descriptive is these words that stick out. First thing, you said souped up. I'm thinking muscle car, right? Like, you look at it this way?
Yeah.
Soup up the engine, baby.
Yeah. End of the day, I keep talking about, no, it's the fundamentals, though. It's what's under the hood's the most important thing. And, our deuce blocks got to look a certain way. Our triples got to look a certain way. Our, all those things, that's the core part of what we do. And then the more confidence we get with each other, that's where we can add some of the fun stuff on the outside that it's really just for window dressing and eye candy more than anything else to try to slow the defense down. But the meat and the bones is always going to be in the fundamentals.
Mm-hmm. People might be shocked when they open up their stats. I know you're not totally involved in that stat game, but Caleb's the number 6 rated quarterback in the NFL today.
Well, that's good for him.
I mean, that's good for the Bears.
Yeah,
that's good for progress. I know it's just a QBR rating. People look at it differently, but given what's transpired, and that's impressive.
Yeah. I keep going back. The only number that we really care about right now is the number of wins, and we're 1-2, and so that's really what we're focused on as an entire team. Is how do we get to 2-2, and then we'll have our bye week. But that's the whole mission right now is get back to 500.
When you call a play, do you get to see the play to its conclusion, or are you already looking for the next play?
I'm already thinking about the next play, whether it's a first down or if it's going to be a third down or anything like that. But no, I'm watching it all. I got to see it all, and I got good eyes up top that they fill me in on things that I can't see from my perspective. But no, I think I'm always trying to think of one step ahead, but my eyes are up on the.
Are you in a special place when you're calling?
Yeah. I think when we're calling it, it's. I don't like to be bothered a whole lot. I don't like to hear a whole lot.
Right.
I think the guys around me they're doing a great job understanding that. But to your point, I think where I struggle the most is winding down after a game.
Same.
Can't sleep, and it doesn't matter if you win or you lose. Your mind's still thinking about what could have, should have been.
And now you're the head coach, and now you're even thinking broader.
A little bit more. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. We got to talk about the defense. So many hands on deck for this one, and I'm even talking about some quality reps for the non-starters, like a Dominique Robinson who got his first full sack since week 1 of his rookie season. Daniel Hardy, Turner getting some snaps. Noah Sewell.
Yeah.
I mean, he's played most snaps of his defensive life.
We've had some of our guys go down and gives good opportunities for the next guy. And, you're right. I mean, we ended up having, I think, 9 or 10 defensive linemen up, and they all played for us. They played significant number of reps, and we needed it. We were losing that time of possession battle there early in the game. That's what Dallas does well, and we needed fresh hands to look to slow them down. It certainly helped when we were able to get a lead and get into pass rush mode a little bit and go after them that way. But no, I think I couldn't be more proud of our guys. We've got. I bet if you're on one of these other teams and you look at who we're playing with right now, you might not recognize a whole lot of names, yet as a collective unit, these guys are playing hard. They're playing the game the right way, and usually good things happen when that goes on.
All right, last thing. I want to go back to the locker room celebration. You recited good, better, best, never let it rest. This is St. Jerome's popular quote. Is this something that you do? I was asked about it, so I thought I'd ask you.
Yeah.
Or did it just come to mind, or is this a team
No,
thing?
This is what we'll do after wins. Is that'll be our breakdown, and it goes back to me. The best teams that I was ever on were in high school, believe it or not, and that's what we did, and I'll never forget that feeling of that locker room when we did that together as a unit. It's all one voice, one soul, one heartbeat, and I think there's something to that, and we're still growing together as an entire group, and I thought the more wins we have, the tighter knit we're going to get.
Well, it certainly fired up all of Chicagoland. Every Bears fan to see that. So congratulations. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Tom, enjoyable conversation. You could tell, man, it's a long Monday when you're trying to work through everything as a head coach and recapping the tape and starting to look ahead to see what's next and gathering your team and figuring out the week and the next plan. I know you like to jot down notes after listening to that. What did you have on your tablet?
I just think it was a full team effort because nobody was left out. When you go from the Bears getting, receiving the kickoff and going 3 and out, the defense gets the ball. The second play, Tyreek Stevenson gets a moving fumble, something in all of our careers I've never seen before. And so what that did to this football team to get them the ball back, and then they take the ball right down the field and score. It was, he used the words piggyback. He used the words complementary. He used the word volume of plays. And so all of those mean something in the big picture of team effort. Complementary. How does the offense complement the defense? Defense complement the offense, and they both complement the special teams. And then you think of piggyback. You have the defense or offense goes out there 3 and out. Defense comes back, gets you the ball right back. How do you piggyback in that moment? You go down and you score points. You give Dennis Allen a chance because you have the lead to be a little bit more aggressive in your thinking process. And then you have the interruption of CD Lamb going out with an ankle injury, and it changes their whole philosophical attack. And now, as much as it's going to change Schottenheimer and his thinking process, it also makes Dennis Allen and the defense change their thinking process too, because they're going to use some different formations or personnel groupings that maybe you didn't expect. And then the volume. We talk about the variation of plays, the design of some of the plays, the personnel groupings. Would you say 7 different people touch the ball on offense?
Well, no. I mean, they on the ground. That was
on the ground. Okay, on the ground. So you got the volume of plays on the ground, that number of guys that touch the ball, the variations in the styles of play they ran off the ground, and then the wide variety of passes they threw in the play. I just think that, Ben said it all when he uses these key phrases and these key words, that it's all about a team effort.
Yeah, and how about the celebration? The St. Jerome angle. Somebody asked me to ask him about it, and it's something that's personal to him, and they're going to do that after every win.
Well, I told you last night, people always ask me, would you like to be playing football still or again? No. But would I like to be in the locker room for that type of celebration? Yes, because that's what the hard work, the effort, the camaraderie, everything that you've invested in your opportunity to play professional sports, that it all accumulates in that one moment there. And I was happy for Ben. And, Ben looked like a young man in that moment because you could see the thrill and the excitement of him and everybody surrounding him.
This podcast is brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer partner of your Chicago Bears. Tastes like Miller time, Chicago. Go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. A note on the Burden touchdown, by the way. The longest by a Bears rookie since... This is interesting to me. Former fourth-round running back in 2015, a pass from Jay Cutler to said former running back against the St. Louis Rams. Jeremy Langford, 83 yards.
Jeremy Langford, Michigan State.
83 yards. I had to look up to see where, he bounced around a little bit, and he finished his career in the Canadian Football League as recent as 2021.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good
Jeremy
for him.
Langford, yeah.
Listen, sometimes professional sports is a commitment to your desire. And when I see a guy like that who came to the Bears and finished in the Canadian Football League as late as 2021, as you said, congratulations, Jeremy Langford.
All right, Rome Odunze now with 4 touchdowns through 3 games for the first time since Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett in 2014. That ties a franchise record. He's on his way to a big year and still I think coaches like using that term, meat on the bone. Ben mentioned it. There's meat left on the bone in the run game. There's meat left on the bone for Odunze as he continues to grow his game, getting a higher percentage of catches on the targets he gets. And I think teams and defenses are going to start paying a heck of a lot more attention to what he can do.
He can, so I heard a lot of conversation about the red zone play that he jumped from the end zone, would have probably landed in the field to play, and the ball bounced off his hands. So if you go back and you listen to the TV copy of that game, Little Z was right there with the parabolic mic. You hear as hard as that ball hit his hands, it wasn't an easy catchable football. It would have been a great catch in traffic under trying to catch a 100-mile-an-hour fastball under those circumstances. So, I bet you if he asked Rome, he would say, man, I'd like to have that one back. Is that meat on the bone, or is that just difficulty of playing professional sports?
Yeah, I think these guys they want everything. They want it all. They want every opportunity, and they probably dwells in their mind for a little bit. But you gotta forget about it. Just like Tyreek Stevenson, where he's talking about the lack of interception.
Yep.
I saw him after the game, and he was so happy because he didn't want to talk about the good stuff. He wanted to talk. Yeah, I should have had that one. I should have had that one. When you talk about players that we become friendly with. Acquainted with over a period of time, you start to root for guys, right? You just naturally do it. And one of those guys, and we've mentioned him before, and we've had him on the podcast, Dominique Robinson, getting that sack, and it was a vicious sack. It was a spilling off the edge sack. I love those kind, like an avalanche, and he buried Dak Prescott. He's getting opportunities to be a part of the rotation, these 2 4-man fronts that Dennis Allen is throwing out there to give these guys the most optimum freshness for these reps throughout the course of the game, and that was big for me. I was happy for Dominique Robinson.
Oh, me too. Listen, man, we interviewed him a couple of weeks ago for the podcast, and I think we've grown appreciation for Dom after his rookie year, how he came back into the building. He was a fit, physical, muscular young guy. He's a heck of an athlete. So any contribution he can make, both in special teams and the rotation of that defensive line, I think it benefits everybody. And I think the more examples and the more skills that he develops, the more coaching that he gets from his coaches and players, I think that he's got the athleticism to, turn his pass rushing into a skill.
Tom, Kevin Byard, 30 career interceptions now, leads all active players since 2017, and it happened to be in his 150th NFL game. Again, the round numbers, 30 and 150, that just sticks out to me. I love those kind of situations, but Kevin Byard is, his second year here after, such a long time in Tennessee and just a minute with Philadelphia for that playoff team a couple years back. But he's becoming a big voice on this football team. He was a part of this apparent team meeting that the players called last week to air out some things and get on the same page. And he is becoming a very key figure on this Bears team.
Next interception for 31 will be 31. So that's got, match your jersey number with another big pick.
See, there you go.
One thing about Kevin Byard is I was thinking of Kevin Byard and Kyler Gordon, because Kevin Byard has been playing at a second level type position since Kyler Gordon hasn't been around. And the dude will deliver.
Yeah.
He is not afraid to hit, whether it's a big running back coming through the hole uninterrupted, or if he's got a lead blocker coming his way, he's willing to go and take him out. So what Kevin Byard has shown me without Kyler Gordon in the mix, or maybe a different lineup strategy because of Jalen Johnson, so on and so forth. His experience is an asset. And so Kevin Byard has really done a lot to stabilize that defensive backfield. And I bet you whatever he said in a players only meeting carried a lot of weight with that group.
And as Ben said, he spoke up after the game as well. Okay, this is what it's like when you win, but it's almost like I heard Olin Kreutz talking about it this week, too, about when Ted Washington came to the Bears, and they were giddy about a win in 2001, that playoff season they had. And Ted said, hey, listen, man, kind of act like expect to win.
Yeah.
Don't make this seem like a big party because, oh, my gosh, you won, but I can see the euphoria for a team that hasn't experienced a lot of success in that moment, but realize that expect it. I think we talk about it all the time. That's the next step, is to expect it. And to prove
remember
that you win.
when we were sitting up in the booth, Kevin Byard was the leader of the pregame chant, of the pregame
the
inspirational speech. So, he's a guy that can stand up there confidently before kickoff, and he's a guy that can stand in the locker room confidently after the game.
Good news, Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. All right, so we talked about the Bears playing some good third down defense. We talked about situational football with Ben leading into this game, and now the Bears' red zone offense is among the best in the NFL. They would certainly like a lot more opportunities in that regard, but out of all things, I trust Ben Johnson's execution and creativity of red zone plays that is going to produce more touchdowns than not. And I don't care how he's going to get them. He ran a lot in Detroit. For right now, it's passing the ball, but I can't wait to see a consistent level of red zone trips and the kind of production and point total that's going to come out of that this year.
One thing that I want to appreciate from Ben, and I think we're just in the midst of that, is when we think of the red zone is from the 20-yard line to the goal line, right?
Yep.
So we think of that in a vertical sense. When you talk about a Ben Johnson offense, you better be worried about that 53 yards as well, because that's the width of the field.
53 and a half, Big Tom. 53 and a half.
I know. 53 and a half. That means a lot to a guy like Tariq Stevenson when he was a half yard inbounds. But he is when you get those end arounds, when you get the variation of plays, when you get the movement and the blocks from the tight ends and the wide receivers and stuff, and you're in the red zone, it's not only the length of the red zone, you're also going to have to be concerned about the width. And so that kind of spreads the red zone out a little bit to me when I think about some of the offense that we've seen out of Ben since we've known him, both as an assistant coach, now a head coach.
So Luther Burden, he's had almost 300 yards of offense, and I know 2 of those were returns, big returns in the kick game. But you throw in the 65-yard. He had 100-plus yards, the first rookie to do it in a long time for the Bears this early in the season. I as I'm sitting here talking with you right now, the first name that popped into my head, because he's not getting a ton of opportunities, he's getting moments of opportunity like Jamison Williams did in his first couple years with Detroit. Is he the Jamison Williams? And they happen to be good friends, Jamison Williams and Luther Burden. Is this the Jamison Williams of the Bears right now?
No. I think Luther Burden has because of the seriousness of Ben Johnson, because Ben Johnson is the head coach, because he understands what Luther Burden's skill set is, I think he's on a faster trajectory to be a competitor and a contributor than what Jameis was in Detroit. And so I think there's guys that Ben wants you to prove him that you're worthy of being inserted in the lineup in a lot of different positions. And I think Luther Burden has the skills to play any receiver position that they want him to line up on the field. And because of his skill set, because of Zacchaeus' skill set, those are guys that are backfield candidates as well as DJ Moore. So I expect to see those guys lined up everywhere, but I think Luther Burden's trajectory of success is on a quicker ascent.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about the 5 starters up front of the offensive line. If you could take just a moment for each, just something that stuck out to you. I felt Braxton Jones had his best game so far. Still some work to be done, obviously, but we can start there and move left to right because it's so vitally important for the rest of the season.
So what I like about Braxton Jones in this game he played, he was a lot more physical on contact in his pass blocking responsibility. So in the first couple of weeks, there was time that Braxton Jones was setting up and relying on his length to kind of get the pass block done, where he came out this week and he stepped to the defender and he led the stab. I mean, he punched with both hands and he created that instant of stalemate that I was talking about, that I think when you have his type of length and his athleticism and his intelligence, I think he has the ability to use his quickness and strength to be a pass blocker. And I saw a lot more of that this week. And it was super encouraging that he was out there making sure that you instill the confidence in yourself that you can go out there and do that. And so he was able to do it. And it was super encouraging to me. You know, Tune, the dude is legit. He can pull, he can trap, he can have a one-on-one pass blocking assignment. He can help the center and keep his left eye peripherally on the left tackle. He's got a good understanding of how to work the combination blocks with either tackle or center and get up and be in an efficient position that the running back can count on. He's going to be in the right second level position. Joe's just a pro, man. He does everything well. And, you know, he's kind of stronger than you think he is, and he's got the skill sets to do everything. And Drew is just a good leader, man. He's got a good relationship, first of all, with the quarterback. He understands the rhythm. He's really consistent about his under center snaps. He's consistent in the positioning of his shotgun snaps, which is so important because we've seen that over a few years, that some of the inconsistencies in a shotgun snap and how they can affect the rhythm of the quarterback. But Drew is another guy. If he's covered, he's got the leverage and strength to have an individual assignment as a center. And that's difficult, man. That's like Hilge and Olin type things that they did so well that you could count on them and they could have a one-on-one block for the success of a running play. Jonah, I got to tell you, man, a fold block is when you come from the right guard position and you fold around maybe the outside of the guard or the outside of the center, and then you lead up to the linebacker. He had a couple of pounds, man, on the linebacker that I was really encouraged to see, because I want to see Jonah being more physical, and he's got the athleticism to move out of place. But now when he is able to move out of place and able to use the power up to that second level, I think it encourages you to give him a more opportunity to be that lead run blocker. And then once the running back develops that relationship with them, they know that they can develop trust. And if you follow off his hip, there's going to be pay dirt right there. The thing about Darnell is he probably played the most physical game that he's played so far. But after he got injured, he re-answered the bell. He was disappointed about having to come out. And when I was watching him the whole time on the sideline, it wasn't comfortable. It was some pain that was filtering through his body. And he was able to brush it off, man. He went in there at halftime, was able to recover, and I don't know what the procedure was, a new tape job or something like that, but he came out and he committed to the second half. And that's told me a lot about Darnell, because there's a lot of guys, Jeff, that will pull the ripcord and you'll see him next week.
That was at what, elbow or shoulder or something with this arm, right? Yeah, we don't know. Yeah,
I don't know. The way he came off, it kind of gave the appearance of a shoulder, but then he was grabbing his wrist and they were working with his left side. But I just got to tell you, man, I was really proud of Darnell for re-answering that bell.
And I know you and I both feel the 2 holding penalties he got back-to-back weeks we would disagree with. So he's already been flagged 6 times. No one's going to look at the deep dive on that, so it's going to be attached to him, which is not fair, but it is the way it is, right? You do strongly feel, though, that was the case.
Yeah, I think it was a late scramble by Caleb on that play that he ended up scrambling for the 17, and I just think that you can't control where that defensive lineman's going to react to. And sometimes you have the expectations of earning your body positioning according to the play call. Now, if the quarterback deviates from that positioning, and then all of a sudden now that defensive lineman's doing something you didn't expect, and it might get your hands out, but they called him because of his left hand, and he wasn't holding. He was just trying to maintain a force against the body.
How do you tell the cashier you're a Bears fan without telling them you're a Bears fan? With the Chicago Bears PNC Bank Visa Debit Card, which gets you exclusive discounts on Bears merchandise. Find out more at pnc.com/BearsCard. All right, let's take a look at the Vegas Raiders real quick. We'll break them down later in the week. We had the opportunity to talk with Kirk Morrison. I got to jump on it this week. So they had a lot of problems yesterday, no question, in their loss. Geno Smith passing the ball well. You asked me about this Trey guy. Who's this Trey guy? Trey Tucker is having a good start to his year with the Raiders. He had an 8-catch day yesterday for 145 yards. First to 4 touchdowns in 3 games in Raiders history, tied with Rome Odunze, actually, for the league lead, and he's averaging 16.2 yards per carry. But I think we love running backs. We both are interested in Ashton Genty. And the number of times he's touched the ball and not been able to get past the line of scrimmage or hit in the backfield is somewhat alarming. But this is all a process. And I still think he's a very, very good talent.
I do too, but don't let him do what he wants to do well, and that's run the ball. So what I'm going to do is if he's in on 1st and 2nd down, I'm going to blitz him, and I'm going to turn his run opportunity into a blitz pickup assignment, because we've saw him on film and we heard from Kirk that that's one of his deficiencies right now. And maybe eventually in his career, he'll be able to pick it up, but it's a real commitment. And if you want to see a committed blitz pickup guy, go look at Kyle Monangai or DeAndre Swift, because they had a couple blitz pickups in the game yesterday that were inspirational. But if I'm going to go out there and I'm going to test a young running back that really hasn't played against talent like that are in the NFL, okay, here comes 6'4" Tremaine Edmonds. Here comes a bullet like Noah Sewell, and just the speed in which they play with, the size and the power. I'm going to have to test them a little bit.
Score big at your local Chevy dealer. The Chevy Silverado will take you through this season in style. Chevy Drive Chicago, official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. Defensively, of course, Max Crosby, 7 tackles, only sack. That team has had sack in 38 straight games, second longest in the NFL, dating over the last few years. But I haven't watched the tape yet. It makes me nervous though when I hear Morrison tell me he can line up all across the line of scrimmage, and that makes so much sense when they're trying to nick you on the way out for the tight end going out in a route or sending a couple of guys at you. Ben's mentioned the last couple of weeks Hutchinson, and then of course. The defensive tackle from the Dallas Cowboys, the Bears have had to deal with all these years, getting 2 men on these guys, Clark, and so you're going to have 2 guys on this guy, right?
Depending upon where he lines up, sometimes you may not have that luxury. If he's lined up over the right tackle and you're sliding the line to the left, it's going to be that tackle's going to have a one-on-one responsibility. Or are you going to chip with the tight end, or are you going to chip and visualize with the running back? And if he moves to the inside, there's always multiple hands that you could put on him so he doesn't get the push. To me, he wants to use his speed and athleticism. He doesn't want to use power against big guys on the inside. So So I think Max Crosby will have a steady diet to the outside, and you're not going to be able to ignore him. You're going to have to be able to hit him.
61.5 sacks since 2019, tied for fifth most in the NFL. All right, just one last word before we wrap up our view of this. We got to take a view of what happened in the league. A crazy amount of stuff. 6 teams now still unbeaten. You had all the block kicks. You had the late second finishes. You had the big plays. 7 games with a game-winning score in the final 3 minutes of regulation or in overtime, tied for the most in a single week since 1970. Just every time we bring up these stats, Tom, every time we think we've seen the most exciting part of the NFL, it gets more and more exciting. Then you got the injury news. Bosa in San Francisco. Najee Harris tore his Achilles for the Chargers, so that's a big loss for the Chargers running game. The backup quarterbacks that got opportunities to play like Carson Wentz and breezing through a victory for Minnesota. I mean, does it have your head spinning a little bit? We're only in week 3, man.
I know, but before the weekend started, I was confused about the quarterbacks, and I knew there was a significant interruption of the quarterback. Carson Wentz, Jake Browning, you got Mariota. You still have some young quarterbacks that are in developmental stages. The kid from Carolina, Bryce Young, is still going through development. You don't know what to expect out of some of these guys, and then,
Joe Flacco, they beat the Packers.
Yeah, Flacco. Everybody's trying to get Russell Wilson out of New York and put in Dart. So the quarterback position really captured my attention this early in the season, and I didn't know how it was going to work itself out.
All right, Tom, that'll do it for today. We will get back together later in the week to get deeper into the Raiders and find out what the Bears have cooked up for them. That's it for us. Thank you, everybody, and our producers for helping us out, including our good friend Katie Fox, who's working her tail off today helping us out. This podcast brought to you by Miller Lite, the official beer partner of your Chicago Bears. Tastes like Miller time. Chicago, go to MillerLite.com/BearsPod to find delivery options near you. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. That's it for us. We'll talk to you next time on Bears, etc. Bear down, everybody.
Go Bears.